Okay, we are here. We're talking WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas. I'm here. This is Josh, and I'm here with Nina here today.
Hello.
Hello, this is Nina. This is a little bit of difference in perspectives here. I am more of a hardcore mark, I might say. I take this stuff a little bit too seriously, and I hear too much of the community and fan base a little too much. Whereas Nina here, she just started watching with us. Ooh, I don't know. Wait, do you remember what was the first feud you remember watching? Like, what stands out? What's the first thing you remember seeing when you started watching wrestling with us?
I think it was Shotzi got her head shaven.
Shotzi got her head shaven. And that was before she got the Kodak spikes on her head, too. So, yeah, that's like less than 5 years, I'm pretty sure. So, versus, me, who I've been watching since I was going to elementary school. And now I'm a Jim Cornette fan. So that gives a glimpse as to what perspective I have. And sometimes she'll hear what Jim's talking about when I have his videos playing. But yeah, so you know what? Let's just go ahead. Let's just go straight in. Any before we even get into the first one, are there? Well, what matchup are you looking forward to the most at WrestleMania? Or which one are you not looking forward to the most? Either one.
I wanted Rhea to be at WrestleMania, but she fucking lost.
Well, she signed the contract this past Monday.
I know. Yeah,
So
she's back in.
they're not going to have a Rhea Ripley-less WrestleMania for the next 15, 20 years, even if she's injured, I would say. Maybe not 15, 20, maybe like 10 years. Rhea Ripley will be in every WrestleMania leading up to WrestleMania 50, in my opinion. But I see that it sounds like you just wanted her to walk in as champion.
Yeah, I also wanted a Charlotte Flair versus Rhea again, because that was a good match a few years ago.
Honestly, I might have to agree with you on that. We'll talk a little bit more about what they could have done when we get to those builds as we get there. But let's start off with the first matchup. These are all sourced and ordered specifically based on Bleacher Report's article grading the booking of every WrestleMania matchup so far. So we'll just go straight into the first one. We got Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. I am not a big fan of this one, but Nina, let me get your thoughts first.
I get that they're pushing Damian, but Drew's losing a lot. Piss me off.
Drew's been losing a lot, and for the longest time, ever since you've been watching wrestling, he's been, one of the top guys, right? I think he was even, well, no, actually he was, I don't think you were watching when he was champion.
No, that was like pandemic.
That was pandemic. That was peak pandemic, so that was a little bit before you started watching. But, I've also seen him go from his gimmicks of just being kind of like the Scottish guy, the chosen one. Didn't really have a gimmick. Then he was three-man band, and then he was the man, WWE champion for a while. And then he became a top heel, justifiably, kind of like how Kevin Owens is doing right now, where it's kind of a lot of their anger is justified, whether it's kayfabe or real life. But doesn't feeding Damian Priest to him just seem kind of like we got nothing planned for you?
Yeah, I don't know. I liked Damian Priest when he was being pushed, and like the Terror Twins, but they could have kept up the Terror Twins a little longer, personally.
Did Damian Priest turning babyface, exiting the Judgment Day with Rhea Ripley, did that hurt him more than it helped him? Would Damian Priest be bigger or more prominent part of the match card if he was still with the Judgment Day as a heel? Or would it?
With the Judgment Day, if he stayed a heel, it would have been better because he's not as good of a babyface.
He's definitely not. I mean, he has his backstory of like being in the trenches or a bum, as Gunther would say.
He was fat before, like
the old Damian Priest. Damian Priest and Gunther had a very similar glow up.
Yeah.
They were both balloons at one point, and I can't really be one to speak, but yeah, they definitely had to trim down a lot. I don't hate Damian Priest as a presence on the roster, on the card. Um, it just reminds me of, and this goes a little bit before you started watching too, when he debuted as a babyface. It was kind of just like, okay, here's this babyface. He's a tall, tan man with braids and tattoos, and a lot of people you've heard this before, right? People call him the bisexual Undertaker in
Yeah.
terms of appearance. I mean, I think you could really just turn that into a millennial Undertaker in general. Um, but yeah, I almost think. I mean, we'll look at looking at the basis of what this feud is based on throughout basically the year. Priest has just costed Drew a lot. Last year at WrestleMania, Priest cashed in on Drew after he beat Seth, eliminated Drew at the Rumble, eliminated Drew at Elimination Chamber, um, Clash at the Castle in Scotland. I think he also screwed Drew. I forget exactly what. Oh yeah, that's what this picture on the bottom left is. So I get what they're trying to do. It seems like they're trying to buy into the whole long term storytelling by having this year long in the background feud, which it kind of feels weird just because Drew was or no, they had a title match. They had a title match at Clash of the Castle. But Drew is just, I don't know. I almost feel like at least they could have had a better, they could have had the same build since the Rumble with somebody else.
Yeah, Drew's feud with CM Punk was better, I guess.
Yeah, and rightfully so. I mean, that's comparing CM Punk to Damian Priest is a little unfair. But that raises a good point, though. I almost feel like they could have chosen a different babyface to eliminate Drew at the Rumble, or to eliminate Drew at the Chamber, or just give Drew some kind of headache. Um, One that comes to mind: El Cero Miedo, Penta.
He just recently made his debut, though.
I
They
know,
could build him
yeah.
up.
I want to see. I think Penta has his own build with Braun Breaker going into WrestleMania, which we'll see what happens there. I feel like, I mean, Braun Breaker has already lost his championship to Jay before winning it back, which was kind of a weird era. I think we stopped watching wrestling for like a month at that time when that happened. But yeah, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. Give me a grade for this feud on a scale of A plus to F minus.
C plus.
C plus. I'll give it like a C minus. Honestly, it's just it's an average. It's an average. I'm averaging Drew and Damian Priest there. um, but yeah, I think Drew will carry it no matter what happens. Priest, the easy remedy to a lot of this stuff, just turn him heel again. Turn him heel again, and he'll be cool again.
Yeah, I liked it when it was all rise.
All now it's all rise for the outlaw. He needs that old Judgment Day song back.
Yeah, I liked when he was El Campeon.
El Campeon. I mean, he was even good as a heel champion. I mean, even though he was being kind of.
He should go for a different belt, though.
Yeah, he should.
He should take that shit back from Braun Breaker.
He should try to go to Braun Breaker. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Flip Priest and Penta right now, and we get a good card. But moving on, we have AJ Styles against your favorite.
Yeah, Logan Paul.
Logan Paul. And let's talk about Logan Paul for a second, because it is interesting, as we said, that Logan Paul, or that you, Nina, you're a newer fan, so you probably knew Logan Paul, his name, or whatever he did online before he even entered WWE. And I feel like Logan Paul, he has, for me at least, and maybe other fans that are similar, I have grown more of an appreciation for him because of how he treats wrestling, how he treats it seriously. And honestly, heels that have go away heat, which people think is bad heat, I think sometimes go away heat is good, and I think in Logan Paul's case it is good. But in your case, a lot of people who knew Logan Paul before are just predisposed to dislike him no matter what. But you're different.
I remembered back when they were doing videos of squeezing hot sauce in their eye, lemon juice.
And you didn't think that was like dumb?
I mean, it was dumb.
But we were also like what, like teenagers, like middle schoolers.
Yeah. So like, I like his entrance in the WWE because even though he's a heel, I feel like his moves are cool.
He has a good moveset, and it kind of ties back to why people like AEW, for example, because they are a fast paced, very wrestling spots centric show, and that's kind of how Logan Paul wrestles when you think about it.
I mean, they hate him because he's a part timer, but he comes and he does his job of being a heel.
Well, they hate him because he's an outsider too.
Yeah.
But I don't even see him as much of an outsider anymore. I've also been watching his some of his podcast episodes, Impulsive with God. He had Liv on there. He had Dom on there.
Fuck Liv.
Liv doesn't even have a Mania match yet, but she has the tag belt, so she'll probably get her match somewhere. But he interviewed Paul Heyman not too long ago. I think maybe in the past 3-4 months he did that. That was a good one. And he doesn't come, like, when it comes to this sport, this business, he doesn't take it as a joke as I thought he would. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's serious.
He's serious about it, and that's what I really like about him. Like, if Logan Paul wasn't in WWE and Triple H still decided to bring Speed in, I don't think Speed would have taken that spear or sold it or treated it with the same respect that he would have that he did with Logan Paul there, to kind of be like, he's almost like he's the bridge, he's the ambassador for WWE in a way.
I mean, I heard Ronda Rousey kind of ruined it for some people.
Oh,
she didn't respect the sport or whatever.
Well, yeah, but Ronda Rousey, I don't give a damn about reputation. I don't like Rhea Ripley. Or Rhea Ripley. I don't like Ronda Rousey. Rhea is starting to... We'll get to Rhea in a second. We didn't even talk at all about AJ Styles in this. Last week, before they traveled to Europe, when they were in Madison Square Garden, they had Andrew Schultz there. What was he? You said you saw him in something before, right?
He's a comedian, yeah. I've seen a few of his.
He's a comedian. Is he big in New York or something like that, or?
I guess he's from New York, but.
Or he claims New York.
Yeah.
At least. So they're bringing other celebrities in to kind of help build this feud with AJ Styles and Logan Paul. And I guess if you were gonna have another Logan Paul outsider versus someone who's solely a wrestler feud, if you're gonna have that angle. I guess AJ Styles is a good guy to put in there in that spot, because he's wrestled all over the world. He wrestled for like 20 years before he even came to WWE. So he's been all wrestling all his life. So this feud makes sense on paper. I just want to see a little bit more. Actually, I think we were watching Raw yesterday. I think you went to the restroom when AJ Styles was on screen. But he had a segment with Karrion Kross, which Karrion Kross has kind of also been in the background of AJ Styles for the past few weeks, too. I don't know. Does Karrion Kross
getting his little showtime, his airtime in?
Is it just him getting a showtime airtime in, or do you think he has some influence on how this turns out in WrestleMania?
I feel like Karrion Kross is playing like the little devil on AJ's shoulder or whatever.
Yeah, I guess that's what he's been doing. Actually, I didn't even hear what they were saying on this past Raw, because I was pointing out to my brother that it was him, it was AJ, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett on the screen. And I saw a post earlier that day that said, "It's crazy how Scarlett has the third best hair on the screen right now." So I didn't
Scarlett, like, flat irons Karrion Kross's hair for him.
Yeah, Karrion Kross's hair is looking nice right now, but AJ by far has the best hair in WWE. Do you agree with that statement?
No.
Who has better hair?
Karrion Cross. It feels like his wife is taking care of his hair for him. AJ looks like he uses 2-in-1 shampoo.
Okay, wow. Why? Is it because of that picture on the bottom left?
Yeah, his hair is frizzy.
But what about when it's specifically groomed for a picture, like in the top right picture?
Picture is airbrush. That's a lie.
Okay. All right. What's your grade for this right now?
I like Logan Paul, so I'll give it a B+.
Yeah, I was thinking B or B minus for this one as well, because the story's there. Like, it makes sense that these two guys from two different backgrounds would be feuding for the reasons that they've explained. You know, it makes sense, but and I'm always paying attention whenever Logan Paul's on the screen.
I feel like he takes good bumps.
It's kind of one of those other things. It's almost AJ is almost having a similar, not really as much of a problem, but he kind of has that same. I'm thinking the same thing as AJ Styles as I'm thinking as Damian Priest. He's better as a heel. I don't think you've ever seen heel AJ before, have you?
No.
Heel AJ is, well, one, he's fucking hilarious. And two, he talks. It almost feels like more naturally, like just that annoyed tone that he has when he's a heel. Whereas as a babyface, it does feel a little bit more pandery, I guess you could say, pandering-ish. But people like AJ, so it's a little bit more natural than like Damian Priest, for example, who just kind of doesn't really get a reaction. And I'm shooting strays at Damian Priest, even though I don't hate him as much as I'm letting on. So yeah, that's AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. Let's move on to the next one here. This is a big one, and I actually have my own personal prediction for this match. But we got Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus CM Punk. What are your thoughts going into this right now? I have like two predictions on my mind here that I'm thinking about and sitting on. But what are your thoughts on this feud?
I feel like Seth is made out to be like an all-star or whatever, like his equal footing with Roman Reigns and CM Punk, but
you don't think he's there?
No.
You don't think
like
he's
him.
there? You think it should just be Punk and Roman like fighting for Paul Heyman's hand in marriage or something?
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like,
Yeah.
I mean, Seth's outfits are cute or whatever. We make fun of him a lot, but
Oh, I mean,
yeah.
well, when we were talking about how his outfits have been muted. Well, they're definitely muted this past week, and it's because he's not traveling with Becky's wardrobe in Europe. She's at home with Rue, their baby. But so you don't think you think Seth feels more out of place than anyone in this feud?
Yeah,
and that makes
Seth
sense.
isn't compelling to me. I don't know.
Was he compelling last year when he was? Was he compelling last year when he was in that tag team match with Cody against Roman and Rock?
Yeah.
Did he belong there?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense because
I mean, he was in the Shield, and I know that, but it's not like I followed him.
Yeah, you don't have that long-term investment that like fans like me and other fans. Fun fact, I was at Raw in 2014. I think it was right before the Rumble. It was either right before or right after the Rumble. I think it was right before because Punk was still champion. The Rock came out. He was talking his pandering babyface promos that people were still eating his hand for because they still liked him back then. And the lights went out, and the Shield attacked him. That was like the Shield's, I don't know, maybe like their fourth or fifth appearance in WWE. And yeah, that was the first Raw I ever went to. And so to see them now where they are is it's kind of crazy. And I honestly went back then when I saw them, I was like, oh, this is just like, I don't know if you're going to know who I'm talking about. Oh, this is just like the Nexus. Oh, this is just like, I almost thought it was like, God, I'm trying to think of who's a good modern day parallel to what I anticipated them to be. I don't know, who's like a low level faction that isn't really going anywhere. And don't say American made.
I was going to say DIY.
Oh, okay. I thought they were just going to fizzle out into like a DIY. Damn.
I mean,
Yeah, I thought they were gonna kind of fizzle out into a DIY kind of thing, but they ended up being like the biggest. They are wrestling, so
I mean, CM Punk's just a better promo cutter than Seth, so I feel like Seth kind of fades in comparison.
honestly, Seth's been pretty good on promos, and I almost feel like Punk, he and he kind of it's not a crutch, but the fact that he has his name chanted everywhere all the time, and it's almost become as universal as Yeet chants, you know. Well, it's been more universal
Yeah,
than Yeet
maybe I'm just a
chants
hater of the Seth chants because they're
of the
so
of the
annoying.
of the singing and stuff.
Yeah.
Sing my song. His promo this past Monday was very mid. I mean, it was good until the very end, where he had to like pander for that. I'm saying pandering a lot, but that's what some of this stuff feels like.
You know, I feel like it's LA Knight where he says something and they're like, yeah,
Okay, like it's like a cheap pop,
yeah.
cheap pop, and yeah. So, what do you think about Roman and all this? It just
Mm,
fits. Do you wish he was doing something else, or do you like where he's at between at least facing Punk if you don't like Seth here?
yeah.
Or do you think that he? I honestly think it's kind of weird that we're not seeing Roman Reigns go after a title, but I guess that's not as important
I
right
feel like they should hang Paul Heyman in a cage.
now. Like they did with Dom, I
Yeah,
think.
like they did with Dom in the custody match.
And just well, what kind of match would it be? Like a ladder match? No, you can't put Paul that high in the air. And how would you? Yeah, you can't do that. Well, it would just be a match with Paul in a cage.
Yeah, but he'd be down on the ground. Like right next to the announcement table, so he could still be an announcer. Slightly.
Well, Paul still owes Punk a favor. Do you think that comes into play in this match?
It might.
You think so?
Yeah.
Does he fulfill? Well, that this is where
But Paul's like that girl, you know.
he's like that girl that's a love triangle.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess I kind of see why you say Seth feels a little out of place now, because now we're at a point where the story, if it was just Roman and Punk, the story would revolve around Heyman.
Yeah.
But you can see that they're not trying to revolve the story completely around Paul because of the inclusion of Seth.
Yeah.
And this brings me to two wild hot take predictions that I have. And there have been no indications of this even happening, so this is really a shot in the dark. But I've been saying this since the Rumble, probably. This match, I'm going to say that the winner of this match should enter the John Cena versus Cody Rhodes match. Make it a triple threat. Throw Roman in. Honestly, throw Roman in there. Because you couldn't have a triple threat with three baby faces. That's just kind of weird. It makes the crowd confused. Not in a good way, like in most cases. But now that John Cena is a heel, you have two baby faces in Cody and Roman, and it can be a little bit of a full circle thing. Or that's where Paul Heyman's favorite of Punk comes into play. Either Paul Heyman's favor allows him to pull some strings to make one of these three guys part of that match, depending on who wins. Or, I don't know, maybe Paul just completely turns on Punk and sticks with his tribal chief. I'm holding up a 1 right now. You can't see it. We don't have the camera on.
But I feel like Roman Reigns has too much connection to The Rock to go into that match.
That's true. That's true, but maybe Roman doesn't like that The Rock he went to someone else that wasn't Roman, you know?
Yeah, they didn't keep it in the family.
He didn't keep it in the family, you know? He's going all Hollywood, and Roman Reigns is still primarily a wrestler above all. He's the head of the table. He's a tribal chief of this company, of wrestling, of this entire industry, you know?
I remember seeing him in one movie. I can't remember what.
I think I do too. Were we watching that? I think we were watching the trailer or something.
Yeah,
together.
it was like him and his wife.
Yeah. Another wild prediction. I mean, you can see it here on the screen. We got 2/3 of the Shield here. And we got the guy who claims, both in kayfabe and in real life, that the Shield was his idea. Not that I'm denying that it wasn't. But maybe we see a return of Dean Ambrose or slash John Moxley. And that's a shot in the dark too, because I don't know exactly what's going on over there at AEW, but I'm pretty sure John Moxley is still a prominent feature there. Um, but man, I like Dean Ambrose when he was in WWE. Like I said, I'm a Jim Cornette guy, so I don't really have a lot of positive feelings for John Moxley in AEW. But I feel like if Dean was ever going to make a return, this would be a great opportunity to do that. Because come on, Shield members against each other at WrestleMania, that's a match we need to have before they all retire, before they're all too old to do it. But obviously, Punk's here, so we'll see. Those are my two predictions for this. Somehow this will lead into the WWE Championship match. Somehow maybe John Moxley gets involved. Maybe both happen, and John Moxley walks out of WrestleMania 41 as WWE Undisputed Champion.
You're joking.
No, I'm being serious. That could happen. You don't think that could happen?
No.
Okay, well, anyway. We'll move on to the next one here. We got Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens. I didn't realize how low res that picture was. But Randy Orton has... I like the build to this feud right now. Kevin Owens has a very similar build-up as a heel that Drew does, where he has a lot of very justifiable grievances, both kayfabe and real life. But they're just doing very heelish things about it. I kind of wish I got a Kevin was right hoodie. I think they're still available. Maybe I'll get one at some point. But yeah, we had Kevin Owens. I don't know what's going on with Sami Zayn. I don't know if he'll just miss WrestleMania or what. What do you think about this feud? What do you think of, and where's Sami Zayn fit in all this at some point before WrestleMania, if at all?
I think Sammy's happy at home.
No, come on.
He did his thing.
Sammy, I listened to a podcast with the New Day. This is like 4 or 5 years ago. The New Day podcast. They had Sami Zayn on there. And Sami Zayn's thing is that he'd do anything for a pop. Whether it's taking a bump or jumping from the top of the cage, whatever it is. Sami Zayn will do anything for a pop. Taking a pile driver, or heat, in that case. So I highly doubt if Sami Zayn misses WrestleMania, it's by his own means, unless his wife is pregnant again. But I like this. I like how Kevin Owens has just been using the pile driver as a I'm going to injure you with intent move. I like that. Randy's return was nice at Elimination Chamber. And I don't know if you noticed, but Randy's bald again now. Did you notice this?
Yeah.
And
I mean, he always had like a...
He always had like a one all around. Yeah, that's true. But this brings back, and this is where me being more of a long-term wrestling fan comes into play. Bald Randy Orton is a different animal. He is a menace. This Randy Orton punted all the McMahons in the head. RKO'd Stephanie McMahon. Well, I don't think he was bald when he RKO'd...
that old lady.
Oh my god, why am I forgetting her name right now? But yeah, he did that. So yeah, bald... did you see that too, where he handcuffed Triple H to the ropes. This is their WrestleMania build. He handcuffed Triple H to the ropes. RKO'd Stephanie. And then kissed her on the mouth on the lips while she was passed out. Did you see that? Did I ever show that to you?
No.
Oh my god, yeah, that was great. And it's different because he's a heel. Oh, he's a babyface doing this stuff now. I remember the last time, and he's back doing the punt. And usually the punt is something he only does when he's a heel. Most of the time. In recent cases, I remember he punted like a bunch of... He punted Ric Flair, although they kind of blacked it out because they didn't want him to really punt him. Mark Henry, just all these legends that were coming back during the pandemic. So it's interesting seeing the punt being used in a babyface way. And there might have been a time where he was doing that as a babyface, maybe against Christian in 2011, from what I remember. but you don't see that very often. So I like this. I can already see the finish. It's just going to be Randy punting the shit out of Kevin Owens. Maybe he'll do it 3 times. 3 times, like, I don't know. That seems to be a theme. 3 crossroads, 3 punts. Maybe 3 spears.
Yeah,
3
I don't
punts.
know. I guess if your finisher isn't working, you got to do that shit 3 times.
Yeah. Change your finisher, Cody. Anyways, what is your grade for this feud?
B.
B. I guess this one an A-. Everything's going its way so far. It's got a good build. These are also former tag team partners. I think they were. Were they champions? They might have been champions for a little bit. I forgot. That was only a year ago though. And that was to face Solo. No, they weren't. I don't think so. But yeah, does Sami Zayn come back for WrestleMania? Just if you had to make your best guess, yes or no?
Yeah, I feel like the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens feud they're trying for it, but I still feel like Kevin Owens is like the godfather of his child or something.
Yeah, like in real life.
Yeah, in real life.
Yeah, they definitely when they filmed at Sammy's house, they definitely had like a big dinner first with Uncle Kevin. And then they're like, "Oh, let's go film this."
Show up for a second.
I think he returns at Mania, probably.
And maybe like what he calls out Kevin Owens and distracts him for a second, and then like Randy will hit his RKO.
Yeah.
And then they'll have another feud because Sammy distracted during a crucial moment.
Yeah, so I think this is a good, dependable feud to have going into WrestleMania.
I feel like there's gonna be a ref bump in this one.
Ref bump.
Mm-hmm.
Well, who does something? Who brings out the weapon or who does the dirty stuff? Because Randy, even though he is a babyface, Randy is one of those guys where even when he's a babyface, he'll do heel as shit. So
I feel like it's gonna be Kevin Owens this time.
Maybe there won't even be a need for a ref bump because maybe it'll be no holds barred or Hell in a Cell or what kind of match do you think this will be? Because it's a blood feud match. It's not like a championship match,
Okay, yeah.
So
barred.
what kind of match do you think we're going to be seeing here? A punt match? Just kidding. I quit match? No, not an I quit match. Last man stand. Maybe last man standing.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Maybe, because that punt is a move that could take someone out for a 10 count justifiably, and so is the pile driver. Maybe it's okay. That's my prediction. Last man standing match. And Sami Zayn makes a legal interference because it's no DQ. All right. If that were to happen, I would take this from an A- to an A+ for me. All right. Moving ahead. We got Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. And that actually, the way I even presented that kind of paints the picture of how this feud is. I mentioned Io Sky last. She's the champion. But she's off to the side in this picture for the match card. Even though, she's champ. Rhea's front and center for that picture. So, what are your thoughts on this?
Rhea better take back your fucking title.
Well, let's rewind. Let's rewind back a little bit to Elimination Chamber, because we got to talk about all 3 of these ladies individually. I think so. Let's start with Rhea Ripley because she's front and center right there. She issued this challenge to Io Sky right after Elimination Chamber. I believe, if I remember correctly, the reason she did that was because she knew she screwed Io out of a chance at the Chamber when she had a match against Liv Morgan, I believe. She tried to screw Liv, but Liv ended up winning somehow. And that second-handedly screwed Io, which is why she gave Io a title shot right after Elimination Chamber. How did you, during when that happened, before the title even changed hands, how did you feel about Rhea giving Io that title shot?
I mean, it's good because they're friends.
They're baby faces, they're friends, yeah. But I guess, I don't know, you didn't see the title changing hands, did you? You're a big Rhea mark. So.
Yeah.
And you were probably the unhappiest person I knew about Io winning the title over Rhea.
Yeah, just because they were like, oh, Io never lost against Rhea.
I mean, that is.
But okay, just because Io throws herself off the top of the cage with a trash can on her.
Okay, come on. You gotta put some respect on Io's name. Come on, Io Sky, the genius of the sky.
They haven't used that name in a while.
They haven't. But I think Io, and let's shift over to Io now. I don't think anyone really expected her to win. I think a lot of people were pleasantly surprised. A lot of people were unpleasantly surprised.
I mean, she was only champion last time because Bailey.
That's right. Yeah, she went into.
She was the mastermind behind it.
This is her second WrestleMania in a row, walking in as champion. Does she lose it again? Probably. Just seeing who else is on the card, and I don't know though. I don't know. I definitely didn't see her winning. I think I was actually spoiled on it the day of, before we watched it. We always watch Raw the day after. We watched the recording of it. So, and it was kind of funny because I think my brother and I knew, and throughout the night, every time it was Io and Rhea on the screen, him and I would look at each other and kind of like try not to laugh because we knew you didn't know.
Yeah, it's because you always get spoiled.
It's my feed. I can't help it. It's my algorithm. Blame Instagram and YouTube. But yeah, so that brings us to what I think is the most compelling part of this whole thing, is Bianca Belair, and a lot of that has to do with the whole Jade Naomi thing. My brother and I talked about this when we talked about Elimination Chamber, but yeah. Does the whole Jade, Naomi, Bianca triangle stuff, does that bleed into this match, you think, or no?
Yeah.
In what way?
I feel like she's gonna be distracted or something.
Like, distracted, like, mentally, and they talk about that after WrestleMania, or they literally come in and make a distraction?
I think they're gonna come in and make a distraction.
Yeah. I mean, Triple Threat, it gives them the crutch of no DQ, so they can kind of do whatever they want, you know? They can get real creative.
Yeah.
What Jim Cornette would call lazy booking, because they're just giving themselves all the freedoms in the world by making a triple threat. Do you think Rhea walks out as champion?
I want her to, but who knows?
Well, see, now I'm thinking maybe Jade and Naomi come out somehow, some way, for whatever reason. I think Naomi comes out spitefully for Bianca because she knows that she
Jade
can.
Comes and beats her up again.
And then Jade comes in and beats her up, but it somehow screws Bianca.
Yeah.
And now they are really in this big, like, I hate both of you kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they kind of have their own feud going off of that. Or maybe Bianca turns a 180 and says, you know, Naomi, you were right. Because Jade screwed me at WrestleMania. She's trying to piggyback off of me and what I do, and me being the EST. She's just the green whatever, you know? So, really, I think this comes down to Io and Rhea. I think Rhea might even pin Bianca so that Io still has that claim of you've never beat me, so it kind of builds to the Backlash PLE match that we'll get with them one-on-one, and then Bianca kind of splits off and does her thing with her feud with the other two. That's my prediction for that. But yeah, give me your grade for this. And
A-.
A-. I'll give it an A. Yeah, I do like the added. Actually, no, I'll say an A- because I don't know if it needed to be a triple threat like that, but
I mean, since they made this one a triple threat, they shouldn't make the men's a triple threat.
Oh, like for my prediction of
Yeah.
Cody's match? Yeah, I guess that's a good point. But I don't know though, because you know how WWE they like having their creative freedom. They like things being no DQ.
Oh, equality for women.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if you're gonna have a women's championship match triple threat, you gotta have a men's championship triple threat. Just like how there's a men's and women's rumble, men's and women's chamber, men's and women's war games. I'm pretty sure there's one more I'm not thinking about. Men's and women's Hell in a Cell. Men's and women's ladder match, shit like that.
Yeah.
Oh, Money in the Bank. That's the one I was missing. Yeah, and actually this will be the first Mania in a while. I don't remember. I think this might be the first Mania in a while where we're going into WrestleMania with no Money in the Bank briefcases, men's or women's for that matter. Do you remember? Oh yeah, I remember. Okay. Do you remember who the men's Money in the Bank winner was this year?
Drew.
Yes. Do you remember what happened to his briefcase?
He cashed it in.
The same night, and
yeah.
I think he tried to cash it in on Priest, and I think that kind of adds on to their current build. So it does, like I said, that feud we're not talking about that right now, but it does tie together. I just think Priest has been presented as kind of underneath, But anyway, I'm looking forward to this match. I think Rhea has been opening WrestleMania either night 1 or night 2 for the past few years, so I'm going to assume this will going to be another opener match. Because opening matches is like almost a similar magnitude as main event. Definitely not as high magnitude, but it has its own magnitude. It's not the middle of the card, This is not going to be the middle of the card. Night 1 or night 2. So, brings us to Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. How do you feel?
If they're not at the same level as Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair, then I don't want it.
You don't see Tiffany there yet?
She could.
She could or will be?
She could.
So she could, but you don't think it's guaranteed that she reaches that pinnacle that Charlotte and Rhea have gotten in terms of just getting the reaction or whatever?
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to get holy shit or this is awesome chant.
They might. I mean, they both like to jump around. They're both not afraid to jump from the top of the corner to the outside of the ring.
Yeah.
Charlotte doesn't. She does like a corkscrew moonsault when she does it. I think Tiffy usually does just a regular moonsault, but I think they'll get a pop for the kind of match they'll have. But in terms of actually telling a story, the story feels a little lacking, It almost feels like Jay and Gunther in a way, where it's just like, and we'll get to them too, where it's...
They kind of threw them together.
Yeah, or it's like Tiffy has a match or Tiffy has a segment, and then Charlotte comes out and, shits on her.
Yeah.
Whether it's on the mic or beats her up from behind, and that squashes her in a way, So I know the match will be good because these are two high-level in-ring performers. The build, it's sitting in the crock pot right now, and it's almost dinner time, So we got to see. Hopefully it's cooked by the time, and cooked in a good way. Hopefully it's cooked by the time we get to WrestleMania. But right now it feels very... It's there, It's the match that's there. This new title that we have needs a match, so this is the match. Is it better than the match for this belt last year, Bayley versus Io?
It could be.
It could be.
But I feel like after that match, Bayley lost a lot of...
And that's the thing, too, is like, I know this match will be better. I know the match that they'll put on WrestleMania on April 19th or 20th, I know it'll be better than that match last year. But the story was better for Bayley and Io last year because of the whole damage control thing.
Yeah.
And that's, that's where we're at. Give me your grade.
B+.
B+, I don't even know if I want to give it a B-. I was thinking C+, B-. I'll give it a B-, knowing that it's a guaranteed good match. That I'll want to watch and keep my eyes glued to the screen for. Which brings us to almost the exact opposite of what I've been saying about this match. Gunther versus Jey Uso. A mixed bag, very mixed bag here, because I think for the longest time we've wanted to see Jay kind of take this role as he's his own guy. It's just him, Oos, you know. Um, but it's Gunta, you know, and we went to Raw. We've been to what, maybe 3 or 4 Raw shows in the past 3 years, right? Something like that.
3.
3, and every single time, even though Gunther is a heel, and we mostly hear boos in the arena for him, I will hear there will be at least 1 or 2 groups of people that really like Gunther around us in the crowd because of just the serious, my legacy in this great sport. I'm the champion, all that. It's believable. It's real. And he really could kick someone's ass like that easily. And I think that's why people really gravitate towards him. And he does have a charisma. Gunther has, honestly, I might even call him a top 7 promo in the WWE right now.
I do. I like Gunther's promo.
Gunther's promos are amazing. It wouldn't really translate to being a babyface. So I think he's just going to be like a lifetime heel for the most part.
He was a good heel against Damien.
He was a good heel against Damien, calling him a bum.
Street trash.
It's street trash. Yeah, he's had a lot of good, heel promos. And conversely, Jay, for what Jay has to, if you take everything away from Jay in terms of everything that kind of makes him, like, at least in terms of branding, the yeet, the music, the arm stuff during his entrance, I just wish that there was more for him to say in promos other than, like, I almost want to say a promo without saying the word doubt. You can say yeet because that's your thing, obviously, but he's been saying the word doubt or believe or that kind of stuff, and I get that that's what this story is building towards, but there's got to be a more compelling underdog story than that under there.
I don't know. I feel like they should just get rid of the yeet. It's getting old.
Get rid of the yeet?
Yeah.
But that's literally his whole thing.
I know it's its whole thing.
I'm wearing a yeet sweatshirt right now.
I know. And
I like yeet.
I don't. I'm starting to not like Jay.
Oh.
I don't know.
Does he have? It sounds.
He's growing old on me, like LA Knight has grown old.
It sounds like you're putting Jay in this tier with LA Knight and Seth Rollins.
Yeah. In
a way. Seth is... The thing about Seth, too, though, is he'll always give you a good match. Oops. Seth will always give you a good match.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that statement? Like, entertaining to watch. The actual moves, the psychology, the story he could tell in a match.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel that. I don't feel that with LA Knight, and I don't feel that with Jay.
Yeah.
And everyone points to his WrestleMania match last year against his Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. And his.
Man. I don't get why they gave him like a 90 something
on 2K.
Yeah.
Well, because he's main event Jey Uso. That's why.
No, but Jimmy didn't get that.
I'm saying Jay has... Well, Jimmy's not main event Jimmy Uso, though.
Okay. They're twins.
Okay, but they're twins, and they looked a lot alike when they came into the WWE, and you could barely tell them apart. But they're very distinguishable these days. Like, even if you were to take if you were to give them the same attire, like they were during the Bloodline stuff, you could still tell who's who. Like, well, I guess that's basically just the hair. But no, Jay's in a little bit better shape, I would say, than Jimmy.
Well, Jimmy's home with the kids.
That's true. I don't think Jay has family. Does he have a family like that? I don't think he does. It's funny how Jimmy and Naomi they like flipped, you know.
Yeah.
Now Jimmy's the babyface and Naomi's the heel. Actually, I had a quick question. Next week is supposed to be a tag match between um, Jay Uso and a mystery tag team partner versus A Town Down. So, I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious. Like, who do you think is going to be Jay's tag team partner?
Solo.
Solo.
I'm just kidding.
So
Well, maybe Jimmy will come out.
Jimmy,
again.
right? Okay, so Jimmy is what everyone's guessing. You know what everyone else was saying though? Yeah, from London and Paris and Tokyo.
Joe
They're gonna
Hendry?
be in Scotland next week, so that's who they're thinking. Joe Hendry. Do you think Joe Hendry is going to? That'd be kind of random. That'd be random.
I mean, it would be really random. I have been seeing a lot of Joe Henry signs, though.
Yeah, I think Joe Hendry makes an appearance, maybe not in that mystery tag match.
Yeah.
Also, it would kind of stifle some of the whatever momentum this feud has. It would kind of stifle it a little bit by just having random Joe Hendry appearance.
Yeah.
So Joe Hendry should definitely make an appearance on this European tour. When, I don't know. Probably not that tag match next week. So yeah, I don't know. Do you think because now and I think a lot of the disdain that people had for Jay being in this match had a lot to do with other things. And what I mean by that is
he won the Royal Rumble.
he won the Royal Rumble, and at the time, everyone really wanted John Cena to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Right? And I even thought for the longest time that that match ended in a botch because Jay won. Like, that wasn't supposed to happen. But now we know, okay, that was supposed to happen. So, even if you take away the fact that Jay didn't really take away John's WrestleMania match, it's still, like, not the best thing that either of these two could have been doing, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like Jay could have been in a triple threat, or maybe some kind of Intercontinental Championship match, trying to get that back. Throw Penta in there, throw Ludwig in there, throw Ilya in there. I don't know where the hell Ilya is, by the way, but hopefully he turns up right after WrestleMania, because it's a little too late now.
Yeah, I hope they don't cut him. I liked him.
No, they definitely should not cut him. But yeah, I just don't know. Jay, I see the purpose of having Jay win the Rumble, but how it translates to WrestleMania, I don't know. That's why I will give this a B, straight B. What are you giving it?
C plus.
C plus.
Even though I like Gunter.
I really do. Yeah, I'd like.
But
I don't.
It can't be a squash match.
I don't like. Yeah, and it can't be a squash match, but it should be.
It should be, yeah.
Right. I mean, we literally saw this less than
King of the Ring.
We saw this less than 3 months ago at Saturday Night's Minute Match.
Yeah.
So it's like, didn't we literally see this before? But, anyways, and that brings us to the final feud, and probably the biggest one of the decade so far. I don't know, and I think this is a good question to kind of start out with. Is this, in your mind, is this bigger than last year's WrestleMania match for this title?
Last year was
Roman versus Cody, and then all the the Bloodline tag match with Seth and The Rock before that. Is this bigger than last year?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I might have to agree with you.
Even with John Cena's heel turn and everything, it's not.
It's not, because it kind of gives reminiscence of last year when that happened with The Rock. And last year with The Rock, it happened, and it was a pivot, It was something that they didn't have planned, that they just went with on the fly. It's because we were Cody Crybabies last year. Which I definitely was. I did not want The Rock to just storm in here and take it. I mean, yeah, and we've had one week of promo, or or 1 week of build from John since then. Cody's been around to kind of talk about it a little bit. But yeah, I like it. I think the one thing I'm kind of battling myself with is I know John is supposed to be a heel. It just seems like a really drastic, and I know that as wrestling fans, we need to watch it suspending our disbelief all the time anyway. But even then, I'm still finding it hard to suspend my disbelief for John just having such a turn so abruptly, you know?
I mean, it's a fun little last heel
Heel run for him.
run, even though he wasn't never ever really a heel.
Yeah, he wasn't. Not like a full blown heel like this is. I guess when he was Thugonomics John, he was like that for a little, but that wasn't really John, and that's kind of what he was explaining in that promo. Is that it doesn't really matter what he did, people were gonna boo him. Which, you know, in retrospect, yes, the heel turn does make sense. And I do like I think the match itself is gonna be a bigger atmosphere than what went on last year. It won't be as monumental or iconic. I think the build itself, and as we progress the next couple weeks into WrestleMania, the build itself will be more iconic, I think, than the actual event. Sorry, no, I meant the other way around. The match itself will be bigger than the build, whereas last year it was more about the builds, and then the actual match had some cool little nuggets here and there. John actually being part of that, which was interesting looking back at it now.
I mean, they even got the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Hiding underneath the ring.
Does Travis Scott make an appearance at WrestleMania?
He has to.
He kind of has to, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But he kind of has a lot of heat right now.
Yeah, just so Cody can burst his eardrum.
Yeah, he needs that receipt, right? I don't know if Cody's going to get his receipt, though.
He smashes glasses or something.
Hits 3 crossroads on Travis Scott. Whips him with the belt, maybe. Is there who wins this match?
It's gotta be Cody.
Think Cody?
Yeah.
You think we're gonna end WrestleMania like I don't know, because last year they're like, we already gave you your storybook ending last year.
Yeah.
You know, we're not gonna do that this year.
I mean, John Cena's done after this belt. Where does the belt go?
No, well, John Cena is playing it out until the end of 2025, not just this WrestleMania.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see him heading into, I think his last pay-per-view is probably going to be Survivor Series. Maybe, yeah, probably Survivor Series, right before the road to next WrestleMania. So we'll see. I think John wins. I can't lie. I think John wins, and Cody gets his get back at SummerSlam, maybe. Mm-hmm. But I think John's got to win this. It would make sense for John Cena to, and I don't know if, did you know that it's for the 17th world title, right? That would put him ahead of Ric Flair for the most WWE championship reigns in the history of the company. So I do think that John breaks that record at some point, because I think when people think of WWE, the WWE wants people to think of John Cena more than Ric Flair.
Yeah.
So it's got to happen, I think, at some point.
And I guess because Ric Flair's a creeper.
Well, Ric Flair's, yeah. Let's not get into Ric Flair, but yeah, you're right. Ric Flair he's a bit of a creeper. He's also had his problems, and he's doing like this. I think at some point he's gonna get some Hulk Hogan heat if he lives long enough to see it.
He's already pretty old.
He's already pretty old. I think people will like Ric Flair longer than they like Hulk Hogan, you know? So, but yeah. I've been talking about this feud pretty pessimistically, I think, for what it's worth. This is the biggest storyline of the year. I think regardless of what we think, it's a bigger storyline than last year just to have John Cena turn heel.
Yeah, I like the heel turn.
I like the heel turn. overall. Do I have some issue believing it? Yes. Especially when you compare it to heel turns like Drew and Kevin Owens. Because those are very grounded in what actually has happened, you know? And I guess you could say the same thing for John, but John's withstood the booze for 25 years, so why does it bother him now? That's kind of where my mind is at in terms of suspending my disbelief.
Yeah.
But regardless, give me your grade.
A.
I'll give this an A+. This is going to be the one A+ feud I'll give this to. So, that covers WrestleMania 41. I'm getting a little hungry. I need a little snack. So I'm going to go get a snack. Any closing thoughts on WrestleMania 41? No? We'll get to watch it on April 19th. I'm already canceling my calendar out to be available for those days. Hopefully, I hope you're not working that day. I'll be in charge of dinner, though, if you are. I promise, okay? Pinky promise. I'll do dinner. If you're working on Saturday, April 19th, I'll take care of dinner.
What about Sunday?
Sunday? You won't be working Sunday. You never work Sunday. All right. Well, thank you guys for watching. We're going to do another Guess Who. We're going to play some Guess Who with wrestlers another time. But, yeah. Bye.
Bye.